Well, welcome back, everyone. We're going to be looking some more at penetration testing. We've got a new target server up on the network, and we're going to go at that, going after those flags, and then again going after that all-important root access as well. So we're going to start off, we're just going to fire up a terminal here, and we are going to do our net discover. And this is going to go out and we're going to scan the network. We're going to find those IP addresses out there and be able to find our target. And just like in past videos, dot one is our Cisco firewall that's sitting in between this live fire environment and the public network. The HP IP addresses you see here is for the server that's hosting the virtual environment for all the servers. And the 222 down here is a Belkin device that's providing wireless access into the live fire environment as well. So it looks like our target here is going to be 117. So we'll start off just doing an Nmap scan to get some information. We're going to do a T4 to speed the timing up a little bit. We're going to do the lowercase n because we don't need DNS lookups. We're going to do that all-important capital P lowercase n. Remember that tells Nmap to go ahead and scan the IP anyway, even if nothing replies back to a ping, because a lot of servers aren't going to reply back to a ping. After that, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to add in the IP address. So we're looking at 192.168.10.117. And we're going to go ahead and start that. And that came back, and it doesn't look like there is much out there. It looks like we got port 80 open, and that is it. So if port 80 is open, chances are this is saying, okay, we're running some kind of HTTP server. So let's open up a browser, and let's just browse out to that IP and see what we see. So we're looking at 192.168.10.117. And site cannot be reached. Okay, you see what it's doing here is we look here, it's no longer the IP address. We're looking, this has a redirect, and it's redirecting to the server name versus the IP. Now, we're getting information about name not resolved. Well, our DNS is not resolving this name. So what we can do is we can go in and modify a host file and actually do that DNS work manually. So on Linux, that is located back in the etc folder. So we can just nano etc, and it is called hosts. So we go right up here at the top. We're just going to add another line up here. We're going to add in that IP address 192.168.10.117, and we'll add in that server name that it was using, which was DC-2. We will go ahead and save that. And then if we go back to our browser now, it should resolve that now. Very well. So there is a website running. It looks like this is WordPress. So this is good information. WordPress, there's lots of vulnerabilities out there. So that gives us some good ideas. It looks like a pretty basic website. Oh, look here. Right here's our first flag. So right here, we've already hit the first flag in the website. It says your usual word list probably won't work. So instead, maybe you just need to be cool. Kewl. All right, so this is kind of pointing me to we need to get into WordPress. And a way to get into WordPress, of course, is doing a brute force against it. Usually when we're going to brute force, we're going to pull out maybe one of our big word lists, like the RockU word list, which is just massive in size. But this is saying the normal ones wouldn't work. And this is a kind of a clue. This is an application that will go out and actually scan a website and build a word list off that. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to fire this up. So that is Kewl. We need to tell it what we're going after. So HTTP //190. Oh, what we got to do, remember there's a redirect on this. So we can't use the IP address. We actually have to use that name DC-2. Otherwise that redirect is really going to throw this off. So we're going to create a word list, and we'll just call that list.txt and have it just put that right here in. That was pretty quick. Let's take a look. Okay, right there, list.txt. So we do have a word list now. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take that word list and we're going to actually go after that WordPress site with that. So we're going to do WP scan, and we're going to use that application to actually do our brute force. We need to give it the URL, http:// remember DC2, not the IP address. We're going to tell it to use list.txt and go. So that's going to go out there and it's going to start scanning this site. It's going to build this word list for us, and what it's using to build this word list is the website itself. This isn't just using, like I mentioned before, the RockU word list. Now that is a massive word list, but our hint here is saying that our usual word lists aren't going to work. So that's kind of getting us an information that, we need to look at something else. And you look right here, it's actually finding users out there in the WordPress site. It's found admin, it found a Jerry user, found a Tom user. So it's hitting this WordPress site and it's actually finding these users out there. And what we're looking at now is we're actually performing that password attack. We've got that password list that was created, and now this is saying, okay, I found these users, so I'm going to start pounding at it with this word list that you have. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause the video real quick and give this time to actually run, and we'll start right back up as soon as WP scan finishes. All right, we are back. WP scan has finished, and you do see we got a couple success. We did find a password for both Jerry and Tom. What I want to do is I'm going to make a copy of both of these, and I'm going to just copy that. I'm just going to put that into a text file so I have those usernames. So we've got these, so let's go ahead and let's try logging into WordPress. So let's copy Jerry's password and we'll go back over to the WordPress site. And if you don't know already, this is something that you can do like a Google search on, and you can find this, that we need to actually log in to WordPress, and we need to log in using their login site. I am trying to remember, I believe it is login. I think it's wp-login.php. Yes, it is. All right. So we're going to log in as Jerry. And we'll pop in that password that we got from Jerry and see what happens here. All right, so we can log in as Jerry. Jerry Mouse, it looks like we're logged in as. So we are in here. We can look around, the different posts that are in here by different users. We can look at different media that might be in here, different libraries. Let's see, we got different pages. Oh, look here, flag 2, put in by Jerry Mouse. So let's open up flag 2 and see what this says. Now it says if you can't exploit WordPress, and can't take a shortcut, there is another way. Hope you found another entry point. All right. So this is kind of letting us know maybe that their WordPress here is fairly patched. And this, we're not going to be able to get like a reverse shell or anything off of this. So it's saying, hope you found another entry point. Now, when we did the scan, all we saw was port 80. So let's go back and let's do another Nmap scan, and let's open it up and start scanning more than just the general. So we'll scan all 64,000 ports if we need to here. So let's do an Nmap, and we're going to tell it port all of them. Let's get a little bit more detail information. So we'll do an SCSV. We're going to do an NPN, and let's do, and then the IP address 192.168.10.117, and let's let that run and see if we can find anything. See, we're going to go out and we're going to scan all 65,535 ports. The other one, we're scanning well-known ports, because a scan, of course, of all these ports is A, going to take a while, and B, it's going to be a little loud. And sometimes, when we do our first initial scan, we want to try to remain as quiet as we can. We don't want to draw any attention to ourselves. Oh, look here, we got another port, 7744. We got TCP, so something's running way out there on that port. So we found two services on there, so it's going to actually start scanning those two ports now, and it's going to give us information of what's going on those two ports. So we go back up, port 80, we're running that Apache server that we saw before, and 7744 is actually running OpenSSH. So right here could be another way for us to get in. So let's give that a try to see if, we've got two accounts. We've got both Jerry and Tom. So we can try those and see if we can actually log in to a shell as that. So let's open up PuTTY, and we're going to hit 192.168.10.117, and that was on port 7744. So let's open that up. Okay, we got to log in, so that is good. So we're going to log in as Jerry. That was the first one that we had. I'm going to reference my text over here. We're going to put in Jerry's password, ADIPISCING. And access denied. Okay, so it looks like maybe Jerry can't log in, or Jerry's passwords may be different on the SSH than on WordPress. So let's cancel out of that and let's fire it up again. 192.168.10.117 and 7744. And let's try Tom this time. Tom. And his password, PARTURIENT. Okay, we can log in as Tom. So we are logged in. Let's take a look at what we can see. Oh, here's flag 3 right here. So let's do a cat flag3.txt and see what this says. All right, it's not. Command not found. Okay, we are in a rbash. So we got to find a way to escape out of that and actually get into a shell, because we're not able to actually run commands here, which is not going to be good for what we need here. There are, if you do a Google search, and this is really some of the stuff that you want to learn and get the research in. And one of the things you want to do, you want to build yourself like a folder of text files with all these different tips and tricks, because you're going to run into them more than once. So to get out of this, to escape out of this rbash, there's a little trick that you can do with VI. So let's fire up VI. We're going to break out and just do the shift : so we get our prompt down there at the bottom. And we want to do a set shell equals bin bash and hit enter, and then we're going to go to the colon again. We're going to tell, okay, we want a shell now. All right, so that pops us back out. Let's see what we can do if we can cat yet. Still not found, but you notice here we are not in our bash anymore as we were up here. So we did escape out, but for some reason it still can't find the command. We can do a directory listing though. Let's echo the path. So echo. And when we're doing this, if you're still learning Linux a little bit, when we echo, we want to print to the screen, and we want to, the $ here says we want to show the contents of path. We don't want to show path, we want to show the contents of it. And right here is our problem. Our path is set to home, Tom, user, Ben. There's not going to be the commands we need in there. We need both the bin directory and the user bin directory in addition to this. So what we can do is we can add those in. We'll do an export. And we're going to say the path is going to equal the current content of path. And then we are going to add bin. And then we are going to add user bin. So now if we echo our path that we did before, now you can see we've got all 3 directories in there, and I spelled one of them wrong, so let's go back up and let's redo that again. All right, so now let's see. Now that our path is correct, we should be able to do our cat now. So we want to cat the flag3 .txt. Well, I just cannot hit the right key here. So let's pull that up, because poor old Tom is always running after Jerry. Perhaps he should sue for all the stress he caused. Okay, so we're getting another hint here. So Tom is going after Jerry, so he should sue. So let's try that. Let's switch user. Jerry couldn't log in, but what if, can we do it from here? So let me go back and get the Jerry's password here. ADIPISCING. All right, so Jerry couldn't log in via SSH, but once we're in, we're able to actually switch to Jerry. So we're able to switch users within it. Let's take a look at him here. Let's do an ID. All right, so it looks like Jerry is not root either. So we don't have. That would have been the perfect thing if Jerry just turned out to be root. But let's take a look at if we do a command called sudo and -l. This is okay right here. Okay, user Jerry may run the following commands on DC2. Okay, so we can run the git command as root with no password. So a lot of times you will see this type of thing with users when users need to be able to run something that requires root. And of course you don't want to give users the root password. So you say, okay, you can run this command as root with no password. So this is letting us know, okay, we can run git as root. So I think the next thing we need to do, we need to actually look at some information about the git command and what we can do with that git command. And you saw me hit this site in the last video. Love this site. So let's go back out here again, and we can run, let's look at the git command. All right, so here's git, and look, we can get a shell out of this. All right, we're looking at a number. So git branch. That's kind of interesting. So sudo all right, so again, this is getting us some information of the ways that we can get into a shell. So let's go back to our prompt here. We are in here at Jerry. Jerry can run git s root, so we can do a sudo git, and Jerry can do this without a password. And that's it. We wanted to do a -p help. So this pulls up our help, and down here at the prompt, it says we wanted to tell it we wanted to drop back out to bin sh. And that did drop us out. You notice our prompt changed. We now have the hash. So if we do a who am I, we are root. So that was able to get us into a new shell and actually using that git command. So what's happening here is we are running a help command, and we're doing this as root. So when we get into this help screen here, we are here as root now, not as Jerry, because we did it at sudo. So when we got the prompt down here at the top, when we told it we wanted to escape out and go back to a shell, it says, okay, I'm going to put you back at a shell prompt as who you are. And well, we ran this as root. So when it dropped us back out, it dropped us back out to a shell as root. So we are at root now. We have all the needed access, and I bet if we go, let's drop all the way back and let's go to the root folder. And if we do an ls, right there is our final flag. So I hope this was really informative. Hope you learned some new things here. Like I said, write all these little tips and tricks down, and just keep them in a repository. So when you're doing a capture the flag event and you find yourself in a position like this, you know, okay, all I can do is run these commands, and you've got this documentation of how you can do this and how you can escape, how you can get out of that R bash and get into a regular shell. Make some notes on this and keep them. Sooner or later, you're going to get good at this, and these things are going to be, you know, in your head, and you're going to be able to recall them. But when you're learning, there is absolutely no shame whatsoever in making notes. Document this stuff to help you learn it better and to help you go further. I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned some stuff. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.